Hey, what's up, guys? It's a Sports Splits here, and we're back with another NFL video. Guys, we are covering the 2022 NFL free agency predictions right now. I just went through my top 10 list of free agents. Now, keep in mind, the order that we cover them is not, best to worst or worst to best or anything like that. They're just my top 10. So let's go ahead and get on into them. Starting with number one, Devonta Adams. Now, I'll be honest here. There's a bunch of different places he could go, but ultimately, I think Devonta Adams will honestly end up wherever Aaron Rodgers does. I do not think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. I think the most likely spots are Denver. Denver's the one that I'm really banking on for Aaron Rodgers to go to. But if not, I think Devonta Adams could very well go to the Raiders. I think those are the most likely. But we could also see, Kansas City get in there. I know they are definitely wanting another, good receiver because really Mecole Hardman hasn't worked out the same way they wanted. I threw the Pittsburgh Steelers in there as well because they want a big play receiver as well for whoever's next up at quarterback. Really, they could very well be in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes as well. I'd be very surprised if they weren't. They've got the cap space to do so, so they could ultimately do that. And I also threw New Orleans in there as well because I know they're patching things up with Michael Thomas. And I'll be honest, this one's kind of a long shot. I don't think they really have the cap space to do this, but I mean, if they can work some cap situations out, I could see Devonta Adams possibly wanting to go there. But yeah, overall, I think it's ultimately wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, but I think Denver is the most likely. So that's my prediction. Number two, Teron Armstead. For my potential landing spots, put Cincinnati, Carolina, Washington, Rams, and Titans. My prediction here is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals have a lot of cap space. They already have their franchise quarterback, and they are desperate for an offensive line. I very much expect them to go absolutely bonkers, looking for an offensive line this offseason. So I think Teron Armstead is definitely going to be a guy they are looking out for. So that's my ultimate prediction. I threw Carolina in there as well. I don't really expect him to go to a divisional rival. Not a lot of free agents really do go to divisional rivals, but the Panthers do need some offensive line help. I don't know that they'll really spend that much on a guy like Teron Armstead, where they're trying to build a guy like, Brady Christensen. So I don't know how likely that is. But, Washington is also in there. They need some offensive line help. I put the Rams in there because Andrew Whitworth very likely is retiring this offseason. I don't know that if we've heard anything officially, but I would expect him to retire this offseason. And then the Titans, they need an offensive line as well. I don't think they really have the cap space to make a move like this, but they could, they could restructure contracts and come up with some cap space and maybe do a move like this. But ultimately, the Bengals are my prediction there. Then Chris Godwin is next, and this one's tough. I think ultimately, I think the two most likely are either he re-signs with Tampa Bay, or if the Raiders don't get Devonta Adams, I think they can get Chris Godwin. I think those are the two most likely. But I also threw Indianapolis, the Jets, and the Patriots in there. I think those are all actually pretty likely. I mean, the Jets are a growing team. They have a now second year quarterback there that really started to show some promise towards the second part of the season. The Patriots, I think, are definitely going to be in the wide receiver market this offseason. And same with the Colts. So yeah, I think those are all, big potential landing spots for Chris Godwin. Then I put Hassan Reddick. I know a lot of people probably aren't going to call him a top 10 free agent. I do. I mean, he had, I believe, 11 or maybe 11 and a half sacks this season and, was really good. I don't think he got the credit he deserved because he played for a bad team, played for a 5-12 team. So I don't really blame that on him, to be honest. But I'll be honest here. I expect him to re-sign with Carolina. You can tell just the way that he talks in his interviews, or I guess press conferences, with the Panthers, and how he talks about the Panthers on social media, specifically Twitter. You can tell he likes it there. I don't know how much he's willing to give a discount to the Panthers, so I'm not sure if he'll end up back there. But some other potential landing spots are the Jets and Giants. I very much expect them both to be in the market for an edge rusher this offseason. I think he'd be a good fit there. I think it makes sense. Then we put Cincinnati in there. I mean, they got Trey Hendrickson this last year, but Cincinnati has a lot of money. They really do. They've got a lot of money they can spend. So really, they could grow their pass rush, make it even better, and yeah, make the defense just even better. Chargers, really, they need some help for Joey Bosa. I mean, since losing Melvin Ingram, they haven't really had a solid edge rusher on the other side. So I could see him going there. But my prediction for Reddick is he re-signs with Carolina. All right. And then next, I put Von Miller. Ultimately, I think the two most likely here are the Rams and the Chiefs. I'm predicting that he's going to re-sign with the Rams. There's a big thing going on with the Rams that they want to run it back. Sean McVay, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, probably Odell. There's a growing thing there that they want to run it back and re-sign. Aaron Donald has said that he won't retire if these certain guys stay. I didn't see the list, but I would assume Von Miller is one of those guys. So I'm predicting the Rams, but like I mentioned with Hassan Reddick, the Bengals and Chargers also make sense to me there. Number 6, I have Odell Beckham Jr. I'm also predicting him to stay with the Rams, though I think Kansas City is also a likely option for him. Really, I think any of these other landing spots make sense. Apparently, he came super, super close to signing with the Saints and Patriots. Not both of them, but one or the other before ultimately signing with the Rams. So I could very well see them being, a landing spot if he did decide to leave LA, but where they really helped him, elevate his career back to what it used to. I think he wants to stay there, and I think they re-sign him. So that's my prediction there. Then for Chandler Jones, my landing spots are he stays with Arizona, or he goes to Kansas City, Cincy, or Chargers. I mean, much like I said with the other edge rushers, Kansas City, the Bengals, and the Chargers all make sense. I don't think Chandler Jones wants to go to a team like the Jets or Giants that aren't super strong contenders right now. I think he wants to either stay home with Arizona or play for a strong contender. The Chargers are a growing team. Justin Herbert is making that team better every year he's playing for them. The Bengals are definitely getting a lot better. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl. We know what the Chiefs are. I think those are all the most likely. I don't really see him going anywhere besides those four places. My ultimate prediction is I think he stays in Arizona. Then we've got Orlando Brown, and my potential landing spots are Kansas City, or there's also Carolina. I'm not, again, like I mentioned with Teron Armstead, I'm not sure if Carolina is going to be able to spend that much on a left tackle, especially where they are very much in the market for a quarterback, as well as growing Brady Christensen. So I don't know about this one. I threw the Saints in there in the case that they don't re-sign Teron Armstead. They have definitely been a team over the past multiple years that really like to have a dominant offensive line. So if they can't get Teron Armstead back, I would very much expect them to be in the market for Orlando Brown. And then same thing like I mentioned with him in Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati's going to do everything they can to get a better O-line this offseason. I think they'll be in the market for a tackle, a guard or two. I'm not sure there's really anyone on that offensive line that I think has a solidified spot there. I think they are definitely open to upgrading all 5 spots on that O-line. It's going to be hard to rebuild an entire O-line in an offseason, but I think they'll definitely be able to replace 2 or 3. Then you got Brandon Scherff. My landing spots for him are Washington, Carolina, Philly, Cincinnati, and the Jets. Now, I don't think Philly is super likely because it's a divisional rival. Again, like even in free agency, you don't see a lot of players going to teams that were, a divisional rival of the team they played for. It's just not super common. But, I'm not sure if I would fully expect him to stay with Washington. I kind of get the sneaky suspicion that he's not super happy staying there. I know there were issues when they franchise tagged him that he didn't want to play on that franchise tag. So I'm not sure he wants to stay there. However, I know Washington is also really willing to take a big swing for a quarterback this offseason, whether that's Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, or a quarterback in the draft. So, I mean, if they were to get a big guy like that, maybe Brandon Scherff would want to stay. But I think right now, this is a tough one. I'd say it's definitely between Carolina, Cincinnati, and New York. Like I mentioned with Orlando Brown and Teron Armstead, Cincinnati wants to fix that O-line. And to do that, they also need a guard. So I think Brandon Scherff is definitely a guy they'll be taking a look at. Carolina definitely needs some interior offensive line help. I think once they can figure out what they want to do with the quarterback position, they'll be taking a look at, big offensive lineman names. Specifically, that interior offensive line for Carolina is it's terrible. I fully expect them to release both Pat Elflein and Cam Irving, who I know Cam Irving's a left tackle, but they'll do that, save them a little bit of cap space. I expect them to restructure some contracts to, make back some cap space. I think ultimately I'm going to predict. I think I'm going to predict him to Cincinnati. Oh, sorry, I don't think I did a prediction for Orlando Brown. I'm going to predict Orlando Brown to stay with Kansas City. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm going to predict Brandon Scherff to go to Cincinnati along with Teron Armstead. Didn't talk about it much, but I think the Jets will be in the market for him as well. Get a good guard to go on the other side of Elijah Vera Tucker. I mean, I think they really want to make that offensive line elite. They've been able to see how incompetent their quarterback play has been the last few years without a good offensive line. And they've shown the past couple years in the draft that they really want to fix that. So I think they'll be in the market for a guy like Brandon Scherff. And lastly, we have J.C. Jackson. My potential landing spots are New England, Las Vegas, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Minnesota. The Vikings. I personally think he is most likely to either stay with New England or go to Las Vegas or the Vikings. Vikings have had some really rough luck when it comes to corners for the last year or two. We all know the Jeff Gladney situation. Patrick Peterson's getting a little bit older. We're not sure how much longer he's going to be, a great corner. We know the Bashad Breeland issue. So they're just low on corners. I think Minnesota would definitely be, a potential landing spot. And then, same thing for the Raiders. They really need some cornerback help. The situation with Nate Hobbs. And Casey Hayward played really, really well this last season. I believe he's actually a free agent. So if I'm correct on that, they're probably going to really be looking into re-signing him, but they'll definitely want another guy to help him out. Get a much better secondary. And really where their head coach now is Josh McDaniels, I wouldn't be surprised if having that connection with JC Jackson, made JC want to go to the Raiders. But I think my prediction here is ultimately going to be that New England re-signs JC Jackson. I don't really see Belichick letting another elite corner go. I think that's going to be my ultimate prediction, but I definitely would not count out the Raiders or the Vikings there. But guys, let me know what you think of these free agency predictions. And really, even if there's a free agent that's not on this list that you want to talk about in the comment section, let me know. I'm always interested to hear your guys' opinions. But yeah, guys, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. We are almost to 1,140 subscribers. Just a few more to get there. So if you guys could subscribe if you haven't already, that'd be appreciated. And I'll see you next time. Later.